So, welcome. This is Henry. So, what subjects did you do at A level?
Did maths, biology, and PE at A-level, yeah.
Oh, wow, that sounds full on. And which one did you really enjoy? Which one do you struggle with? Tell me a little bit about how you found those three.
I really enjoy PE. I'm quite a sporty based person anyway, so PE learning about how it all worked sort of was really enjoyable, I thought. And then maths was tough, obviously. Maths was really hard.
Yes,
Took a bit of work, but we got there. It was all right.
good. And so, tell me about your sport. So, what is the sport that you really enjoy?
So I play rugby mainly. I mean, I love sport in general. That's why I've gone on to study a sporting degree, but rugby's my main sport, yeah.
And so, did you play for a team while you were at college?
Yeah, so I played for the college team, and then I also played for Loughborough the club team down the road as well. I think at times I was actually playing for three different teams at the same time at college. So yeah, it was a lot.
Wow,
It was a lot. Yeah,
that does sound like a lot. So, presumably, that's quite a lot of training in the gym as well.
yeah. I mean, I think I would train rugby maybe 5, 6 times a week, and then I also train the gym probably four plus times a week as well. So yeah, it was a lot.
Very, very full on. And how did you find that balanced with your academics then? Because you were doing, really academic subjects. How did you manage that?
It took a bit of a realization that I had to really sacrifice some time from my rugby and sport to do work. Like you can do both. Absolutely, you can do both, and I've done both. It's tough. It's really not easy, but you have to acknowledge that some time where you want to be thinking about rugby or doing a sport has to be put aside to do work. It has to be. That is the brunt of it.
Yeah, and I think that's also very similar for the students who are doing kind of musical drama,
Yeah,
is that
absolutely.
even if you are wanting to go into the conservatoire or kind of drama school or whatever, you still have to get the grades in those subjects that aim in that direction. I think that is a pull. That's definitely a really tough pull. And then tell us about biology. What did you enjoy about that as an A level?
I chose biology mainly as more of a route to what I wanted to do after. I knew that the sort of courses that I wanted to do needed a science subject, as because I'd looked on the UCAS forms and it said requires a science at A level. So it was more when I applied just to tick a box. But then the course itself I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the experiment side of the stuff, and again it sort of fed into sport with some of the more human biology that we did.
Yeah. And I think that's the good thing about biology is you're doing some modules that are really applicable to the human stuff if that is your interest. And then, so for example, my environmental students, they'll really enjoy the kind of plants. But actually, the breadth of it means you have studied some stuff that was tough that perhaps wasn't in your comfort zone, but you've still done it. Fabulous. And so you went and obviously did brilliantly at your A levels. And then where are you studying now? What course are you doing? And tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm at Loughborough University now, and I'm doing a course called Sports Engineering. I think they can change the name of it. I think it's called Sports Technology now. But I mean, it's a Bachelor of Engineering. So it's quite niche. It's the only university in the UK that offers the course, and there's only about 30 people on said course. So it's quite competitive, and it's quite niche. But to put it simply, I would say we study all the technology behind sports. So that sort of varies from things like handheld equipment, like your cricket bat, your golf club, etc., to wearable technologies like cycling helmet, something like that, and then also all the other stuff like a 4G, artificial turf, everything along that line. Anything that can be engineered in sport is what I study, simply.
It's fascinating. And then two things. How did you find that? And what else did you apply for? So obviously Loughborough is incredibly competitive, and particularly for anything related to sport, it is, I would argue, one of the best sporting universities in the world and is very, very, very competitive to get into. So it's for the sporting kind of practical courses like that, it is as competitive as Oxford, Cambridge, LSE. And so, how did you find the course at Loughborough? And then, what other subjects were you applying for? Because it wouldn't have been the same at the other four choices.
I found the course at Loughborough because I went to Loughborough on an open day to look at their sport and exercise science course, and we were just reading through the leaflet of courses and saw this course and was like, that actually sounds really interesting. Didn't know of the course even before I went to the open day, but just went, saw it looked really interesting on the leaflet, thought we're here, might as well go and have a look at the building and all the stuff about it. So we went along. I found it fascinating. And I was sort of sold by Loughborough as a place. So I applied to Loughborough twice. It was actually my firm and insurance choice for two different courses. And then, yeah, so I applied for the sports engineering as my firm, and then my insurance was sport and exercise science. And then I applied to Bath, Nottingham, and Exeter for sport and exercise science as my other three, I believe.
Fantastic. So actually, that's really interesting. And that is a very good point for students. Almost all universities, apart from Oxford and Cambridge, you can apply for two courses at the same university. And then also, could you just briefly explain what's a firm and what's an insurance, if you remember?
Yeah, so the firm choice, I just saw it as the one that I wanted to do most. And then my
Yeah.
insurance was sort of a fallback. So I applied for sport and exercise science with a foundation year at Loughborough for my insurance choice. And because it was a foundation year, the grades were dropped by 3 or 4 grades. So it was a fail safe, really. In the
Absolutely.
case I didn't get my insurance.
Yeah,
My
so
firm.
that's exactly it. And you choose those at around March of your second year when you are and you also go and as soon as you've done your firm and your insurance, you can choose things like halls, etc. But I think that's the nice thing is you get to choose the place that you really want to go, and that's your firm. And then you put your insurance. Normally it's a lower offer. So it's the place where if the grades go awry, you've got on results day that backup. And that's why as well, most students will choose three kind of Russell groups or three competitive universities and one or two kind of recruiter courses, recruiter universities. Okay, and so tell us a little bit, did you have an interview for Loughborough?
So no, I was the course I applied to and got into, luckily, was supposed to have an interview, but because of my personal statement writing that I did with you and my sport, I'm assuming, I got fast tracked through the interview process and onto the course.
Yeah. And I am very mean about personal statements. And if you stay on Reach, you get personal statement workshops with us one-to-ones. But also what we have is we have universities that actually come to us all the way through the autumn term to check students' personal statements. So all the students in the entire second year get the same support, really, which is fantastic. Now, tell us a little bit about how have you found Loughborough?
So it was a bit different for me because I went to Loughborough 12 weeks before the start of the first term for rugby. Because it was a performance sport and it required a really long pre-season, I went 12 weeks before term started. I had felt a little bit more settled in because I knew the place to begin with. In terms of the whole experience of joining university and having to live for yourself and actually cook and do all of that stuff, it's overwhelming. I actually really enjoyed it. I found the sort of individual freedom that came from it and the sort of learning you had to do really fast because actually you've got to take care of yourself and all of that from the get-go. I found it quite enjoyable.
That's awesome. And do you think you'd been helped by having been at college, that kind of preparation, this middle step, as it were?
Yeah, definitely. Particularly in the sort of the way you study at university and the way that college made you study, I think definitely helped. At university, it's quite an individual thing. I mean, you're in massive lecture theatres with loads of people, so it's not really the place to do one-on-one questions. So the sort of figuring out how you best learn and how you can apply that to your university course, I found really helpful.
That's great. And I do think that's the thing is you learn to be quite independent. You learn to use your directed study time. And I think that helps when you get to university. Okay, and then what would you say is the favorite thing you've done on your course?
Currently, for one of my modules, designing a dart, which is it's how niche is that, but yeah.
Oh, fascinating. And what would you say would be your hints and tips for students who were thinking about uni? Any hints and tips?
Join a society. I mean, everyone says it. It's quite cliche, I suppose, but it's the easiest way to meet people. Like, I mean, if I hadn't joined the rugby society from the get-go, I would have definitely found it a lot harder than I did to sort of really get a good group of people to be friends with. So yeah, definitely join a society. I'm just gonna go and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And also, it's quite cool because it was really amazing seeing you balancing your sport with your academics and then obviously going off to a world-class university like Loughborough. So thank you so much for your time, Henry, and it has been really, really good to see you.
Thank you very much.